name is Jairaj, and I worked in the government, in the Indian Administrative Service for more than 30 years. And I retired in June of 2012 from the government. In government, my experience has been in infrastructure, urban development, transport, energy, and I was lucky to hold very key assignments. I also worked in America in the World Bank, Washington DC, where I was associated with the Africa region. I came to the IAS with a very strong academic background in economics, public policy and management. I did an MA at the Delhi School of Economics, then an MPA at the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton University, and another MPA at Harvard Kennedy School of Government. But over and above the government, I have maintained a very keen interest and association with the management movement. I was president, Bangalore Management Association, and the only IAS officer, so to speak, to be president of the All India Management Association, which is why I am here at this AIMA event. And I continue to retain this interest in management education. Yeah, it is extraordinary to see this entrepreneurship scenario in Bangalore. In the 2000s, you had the dot-com, and the dot-coms were actually single entrepreneur stories, but they also busted quickly. After some time, there was a little bit of abatement of this story, and now when you look at people like Rajiv and others, and I was talking to Chris this morning, and he said that there's another resurgence of entrepreneurship, especially in some areas, because the ecosystem is very good. We saw some evidence of that. But he says that the important thing is that the institutional support for entrepreneurship and creativity, that is what we require to build a little more. He asked me, for instance, a question. Among the engineering colleges, let's say in Bangalore, how many really promote entrepreneurs by giving them facilities, incubation support and so on? So I'm thinking about that now, because apparently in Kerala, if you become an entrepreneur out of college, then they give you some marks, grace marks, they give you remission from attendance, and they also give you some financial assistance.
Yeah.
So I think we really must go all out and do this, because Bangalore has so many advantages, right? And it can be such a creative place in which you can really change the topology of this entire situation. See, if you speak of infrastructure in general, Bangalore has taken a heavy beating, not because infrastructure is by itself hopeless or inadequate, but because of the numbers. See, today in the Bangalore agglomeration, you have close to 90 lakhs. And there's such a fantastic migration of people into the city. And the city has also not dispersed itself. It's all concentrated on one area, and then in the evening there's the reverse flow. So infrastructure has really taken a hard knock. And the attempts by the government to develop infrastructure is also somewhat muted, because you take the metro project. It's a very good infrastructure addition to the city, but it is a little too late, you can say. It has taken more than 20 years to materialize. So, whatever form of physical infrastructure you look at, we need to really get it up to speed, and we need to provide them in a measure that is what is related to people's needs. That we have not been able to do. So this is a continuing story, and I think there is no magic bullet. We'll have to work harder to make it happen. Yeah, I think so. I think now there are many agencies involved in Bangalore. And it's interesting, for instance, 10 years ago, when Mr. Krishna was Chief Minister, I was BBMP Commissioner then, and at his behest, he started the Bangalore Agenda Task Force, and I wrote out the terms of reference for this BATF. And Nandan and others were still somewhat new to this field of social activism and helping the civic agencies. The BATF was a very good example of when it started. And then now again, we need another kind of civic participation to make things happen. But over and above, what the civic agencies must have is a culture of execution. The discipline of execution, doing things on time, making them work, conformance with quality and specifications, and then converging and not diverging. There are many organizations that in Bangalore today that need to get their act together and they need to work together. So that's also another continuing challenge. It's very interesting you ask the question, because you see, IIMs and all that reinforce the conventional management story, supply chain management and all that stuff. Whereas today, I've heard these young entrepreneurs say, we have to think completely out of the box. The old management principles are not valid. We have to rethink them. So there is this huge tension between these two. And even within the management institutes, some very thoughtful people have told me that, what we are doing here is old hat. This cookie cutter approach will not be sufficient. We need to, reach out to the person and build a management ethos around the person, then expect the person to adhere to a system. So I think it's still, the debate is on, and institutions like IIM need to refocus on where they have to be in the next 10 years. Two separate suggestions. One is that those who are entrepreneurs should not give up, because there are failures, and I know personally about these failures, and the mortality rate is also quite high, because if they fail, they want to go back to conventional industry. So if you stay the course and if you really validate your ideas and put it in practice, you will succeed. My second suggestion is those who are struggling to get out from industry and want to become entrepreneurs, they should do it. And Bangalore is really the place for it, because I again heard today that every house in Indiranagar and Koramangala is a startup, and it's really fantastic. I wish I could do it.